Welcome back to Exceptional Talk with Dr. Clark. Tonight, guys, you do not want to miss this. I have a powerhouse. When I tell you this lady right here, she has done it all and been recognized for it all. But I'm just going to give you a little bit and I'm going to let her tell you the rest. But I cannot not tell you about this lady right here. In 1998, Dr. LaKeacha Jett embarked on her journey in education within the Baltimore City Public School system over a span of 25-year career. She has passionately taught students from kindergarten to 8th grade, while also immersing herself in various leadership roles, including club hosting, servicing a technology liaison, and leading as a schoolwide enrichment manager. But what I want to do, I'm going to skip down a little bit and then I'm going to let her talk a little bit about the rest of it. But she received and recognized by President Obama for a Lifetime Achievement Award, guys. Not only was she recognized by President Barack Obama, but she has also been recognized by President Joe Biden for a Volunteer Service Award. So when I tell you she has also been Professional of the Year, this is just the tip of the iceberg. She's going to tell you the rest of this and all of the other things that she does. She's an author. She's a business owner. I could just go on and on. I just told her she's going to have to do 2 sessions for all the stuff that she has done and still doing. So let me first of all thank Miss LaKeacha Jett. Hello, hello.
Hello, everyone.
I am so happy that I finally got an opportunity to interview you. We've been kind of missing each other and having to reschedule, but I'm a firm believer that things happen when they're supposed to. So
yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, it happens when it's supposed to. So I'm going to sit back and let you go ahead and tell my viewers a little bit more about yourself. You have your doctorate and some other things you got going on. When I tell you, guys, just listen.
Well, hello again, everyone. Yes, I do have those accolades, but I promise you guys that I'm like a down-to-earth regular girl, regular lady. I started my career in Baltimore City. I was born and raised in Baltimore City, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. I had my first son when I was 17 years old. So for me to even be here today to have been recognized for doing so many great things in education and in the community is truly God and truly amazing, because I should have been written off a long time ago. But something in me just wouldn't quit. So I was the first person in my family to go to college. So I went to Coppin State College in Baltimore. Because it was easy for me to get to on a bus.
Okay.
So that's what I did.
It's a start. But look what you
start, definitely. Yes, ma'am. Had my son receive like public assistance and everything. I did what I needed to do to get through school. And did. And I actually went into teaching by mistake almost, because my first major was psychology. I always wanted to help people and be a psychologist and try to figure out why people did the things that they did. But I think one of the advisors said, well, you have to have a master's degree before you can get a good job in psychology. And I was like, oh no, I need a job as soon as I graduate.
Well, actually,
barely making it.
But it's so strange because I did the same thing. My bachelor's is also in psychology. And I was going to be a school psychologist, and I end up shadowing someone during my junior year, and all this paperwork and travel. I said, oh no. So I understand. So keep going.
Yeah. So I said, well, I always wanted to be a teacher. And actually I did, but I would have family members and friends that teachers don't make a lot of money. Teachers, why would you want to be a teacher? So I kind of pushed it to the side and thought, well, I'll be a psychologist. And so I switched my major to education and I loved it. I loved everything about it. And I did good. My professor then, she would always compliment me and she would teach me things because she taught me like about speech. In Baltimore, you know, certain things you would say that was incorrect. And, you know, when you're around your family, you can really just relax and talk how you talk or talk how they talk. And she would tell me, when you're in education, you can't speak that way. You have to make sure your subject and verbs agree. And I just soaked in everything that she did. And she said, one day I see you training teachers.
Wow.
So 25 years later, but I started training teachers before now, but that's what I do. And I absolutely, absolutely love it. So I started at Arlington Elementary School in Baltimore. I became teacher of the year there. And then we moved to Georgia and I started at Hawthorne Elementary School in Clayton County. And since then, I've just been at school. So in Baltimore, we started a nonprofit organization for girls. For one, like I said before, I was an early teen mom, and I always wanted to help girls. And the things that we were seeing in Baltimore with 4th and 5th grade girls, we was like, no, this should not be happening.
Right.
They needed role models. A lot of the moms were not role models. And so one of my former coworkers, who's a friend now, Erica Dates, she and I started Social Butterflies with the girls, and we absolutely loved it. Well, I moved to Atlanta, and then later on, she moved to Atlanta. And so she called me and she said, I think we should make Social Butterflies a nonprofit organization. Now, if you don't know anything about business, because when you're in education, you learn all you can learn about education. But I was like, what is a nonprofit organization? And we don't have a business, but we got somebody to help us. But as we went along, I learned and learned and learned all I could learn about a nonprofit organization. And I started in like recreation center. So this, of course, I still had my job. I had my kids. And at the time I was just going through a divorce, but I still wanted to help people. I always wanted to help people. I felt like I went through so much in my life and I would say, God, why did I go through all these things? And I just felt so you can help other people.
Absolutely.
And so that's kind of birthed Social Butterflies here in Georgia. And we started in a recreation center and then we moved to schools. So like I said, I started at one school and then all of a sudden, every other year I was being moved to another school. And I would say, well, why do they keep moving me? I'm a good teacher. I don't bother anybody. I don't start any drama. And then I looked back one day and I said, every school I've been to had a chapter of Social Butterflies. Wow. So even though it was uncomfortable for me to move, and I felt like, you know, some people in education, they say, pass the trash. I'm like, well, I'm a good teacher, you know, I did the right thing.
Right.
But I felt like God had a bigger vision for me, and it was to, you know, put Social Butterflies in all these different schools, in which I did. We ended up being in about maybe about 12 schools in Clayton County before the pandemic. Okay. And what I would do, I would train teachers on how to implement the program. And I created a whole curriculum so that anybody could purchase the program, because Eric and I, we would travel all over to different schools, to different places, to different conferences, presenting the program and giving people an opportunity to look at it. And people all over the world would purchase the curriculum for their girls. So that's how I got into Social Butterflies and being an entrepreneur. I don't know where to go from there.
Okay, well, I'm going to coach you a little bit, but let's go back and kind of just soak in some of the things you've done already. Okay. When you talk about an organization for women and having mentors and lack of that, it sets the tone for what our community actually needs right now. Mm-hmm. Because we now see our ladies are not having self-respect or being respected. Mm-hmm. So if there's any time that we need this type of program, it is now. And I know with a lot of the other programs, I'm not saying that they're not doing what they're supposed to do, because we need as many as we can get, you know,
Mhm.
as many we can get. So you know how you've gone, you traveled, you've gone from school to school. What did you find that may have been some of your challenges in going from school to school?
Well, for me, I think the biggest challenge is being able to commit to the time because again, at the time I had small children. So because I still work and I did social butterflies part-time, and of course, when you're building your own business, you might not necessarily have all the funding that you need. So between time and funding, I would say those would be the biggest challenges. I would have to take time from my own family and my own children to go do a presentation or do a workshop or do something for someone else's children.
Mhm.
And then the funding, a lot of the times, we would get like small grants or small donations or, something like that. But for the most part, you're spending your own money sometimes just to go out and help other people, to help girls. So sometimes it can get a little, tiring because it's like, okay, I'm sacrificing my family to
Right.
help somebody else's family. And that can be a little discouraging sometimes when things are not going right well in your own home. But at the end of the day, if it's something that God puts in your heart, He's going to make a way for you. And He
Absolutely.
did. He absolutely did make a way for me to do social butterflies and still have my family. And I would always say my daughter is my number one social butterfly because she was with me at every event, every workshop, every tea party, every women's empowerment or girls empowerment, whatever we did for the girls, she was there.
She
So
was
she is my number one social butterfly. Even my son would be there to help me decorate, set up chairs, whatever they needed to
okay.
do,
Family
they would be
business,
there.
family business.
Yeah, but people, would think, oh, you starting a nonprofit, people just gonna pour in money to you to make it go, but it doesn't always work like that.
And
So
and and
sometimes those could be the challenges.
and that's something that I think in any business when you first start out is the struggle of funding. Um,
Yes.
let's talk a little bit about your accolades. You were given an award
Mhm.
by one of the highest officer there is. What on that particular day that you accepted that award, what was on your mind before, and if you can remember afterwards?
Um, so for the awards, I think I remember applying for the awards, but you know how you apply and you think, oh, it's always someone else out there doing way more than me. Um, So I think we were having a girls' conference, and one of the presenters actually presented me with the award
Oh,
from President, no, the one from I think, yeah, President Obama first,
okay.
of course. And of course, I'm elated because you apply, you think, oh, I'm worthy, but then you start thinking, oh, maybe I'm not that worthy.
Right.
But just to receive it, of course, I would have loved to meet President Obama in person, but just to receive a signed award official, I kept, and I do have it in here. I kept the envelope that was mailed. I kept everything
Is it a
because
way
I
you
just
can
thought
show
it
it
was
to
really,
us, or
really
is it on the
special.
wall?
Hold on, I can grab it real
Okay,
quick.
okay. One moment, she's gonna show us her actual award.
And I think I may have to, let me take off this
Background.
background. Yes, ma'am. What's your background? I'm putting none.
Oh, wow, that is so large.
Well, I
Oh,
had it framed.
oh,
So this
wow.
is the envelope that it had like a little card. I think the card is right here. So it was
Yes,
the envelope and then it was like a card and then the
see that,
award and
and
then
the
like a letter.
seal, and you have a seal. Awesome,
Yes.
awesome, awesome. Wow, see?
So then I received it again from President Biden.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, so I'm definitely very excited about that. Just being able to accomplish such a tremendous acknowledgement.
Yeah, that's a great
Yes,
honor right there to know that you are giving back. And not only are you giving back, but you're being acknowledged for it. There are so many
yes,
that strives every day to help others, and they're just like a silent soldier. Nobody knows, nobody worries, nobody cares, but they keep on doing it. So
mhm.
it is awesome to see when one does get recognized for what they are doing. So congratulations to you, both of you.
Yes, ma'am.
All
Thank you
right.
very much.
You're very, very welcome. So now let's kind of switch gears a little bit because you're also, I think I read about an author, I believe.
Mhm.
Yes. Let's talk a little bit about your book.
Okay.
Tell me about.
So, like I said, I wrote several curriculums on for girls. But before I got into writing the curriculum, when I first moved to Georgia, um, I wanted to write about something that happened to me, and it was it was hard for me to write because I had not completely healed. So it took a few years. But when I was pregnant with my daughter, I was 25 years old. My ex-husband, who we weren't married at the time, but we had been dating and dealing with each other, had a stalker. Well, really, I don't think she stalked him. She stalked me
Okay.
because she wanted to be in a relationship with him and wanted to get me out of the relationship. So you would think that, oh, this lady is a teacher. She had just bought my first house. Had my oldest son. I was pregnant with my daughter, and she just became fixated on me. She became a stalker. She became so just envious and jealous of my life till she figured that it would be best for her to try to get rid of my daughter and ruin my life. And what she did, um, she attacked me, basically attacked me with acid
Oh my
and
God.
tried to kill my daughter by stomping on me.
Oh my
So
God.
not only did she do that, she um, wrote false police reports on me, had me arrested, would sit at the top of my job when I was coming to work. When I say it was a whole 3-year ordeal of stalking, harassment for like 3 years.
My goodness.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
oh,
and
it's
so in my story, so when I moved here and I decided to write, I basically wanted to get it all out. If I get it out, I just
yes.
wanted to be done with it. I didn't care if nobody read the book. I wasn't going to promote the book. I just wanted to get it out. And I met with someone and they said, well, how did the story end? And I said, basically it just ended. She just finally got some consequences from the correctional system, and it ended. I moved. My husband and I moved, and it ended. And so she was like, "Well, basically, like that doesn't seem like it was really good that it just ended like that."
So
And so I held on to the story, but finally I said, "I just want to get it out. If it helps somebody, fine." So what I made sure that I did in this story, I made sure I told how I overcame that. So I had to wait a few more years because I had to overcome that
that's
and what I did to overcome that. So in the book, Egregious Acts, you see the story of what I went through um, because of this girl and her fixation with me and my ex-husband. And then you see how I grew and I learned and I moved on because I didn't want to write a story where I'm just telling you all this bad stuff. I wanted to write a story of overcoming.
Mhm.
And like, if I could go through all of this stuff and still try to help people, so can you. And like saying, you can't just keep bad things happen to all of us. You might not have my story, but everybody has a
As a
story, something that happened to them. But you can't hold on to that for the rest of your life and not move on, not move forward and not live your life. And that's what I've been doing since it popped in my head, like, you're alive, you're here for a reason. I live my best life is what I try to do.
Yes, yes.
Because you can't let those people who try to really get you down, who try to make you feel like you're nobody because of their own self-hatred, because of their own insecurity, because it can happen. I'm not gonna say every day was a happy day, especially after I got here and was going through the divorce, and I had 3 kids, and only family member that I had here was my uncle at the time. All of my family was in Baltimore. It was a 12-hour drive because back then we didn't have Southwest. So if you wanted to fly to Baltimore, you had to fly Delta. I couldn't afford to fly 4 people, my 3 kids and myself, to Baltimore back and forth. So we would drive. 12 hours on holidays just to go to Baltimore, just to be around family. So it was a very trying time, and a sad time in my life, but at the end of the day, I feel like I overcame a lot.
You did. You absolutely did. And I like the part where you talked about you having now a story, because there are so many other people that may encounter, like you said, it may not be this particular thing, but they are encountering something in their life. And to
Yes.
be able to live through it and
Mhm.
overcome it and live your best life, that's the story that anybody would want to hear. Not only would they want to hear the story, you should really have yours in a movie.
Well, I hope so one day. And when I would do speaking engagements, not big ones, maybe like some churches, some women's conference, if people invited me, I would go. And you would be surprised at how many women would just come up and give me a hug and say, I really learned so much from you. I learned a lot from reading your book. And some of the teachers, I would be embarrassed. Like, I didn't want any of the teachers to read the story. I just want everybody to think, oh, that's Miss Jett or that's Dr. Jett, and she has this great life. But of course, people will Google you. So some of the teachers like read my book, because I would never advertise. I would never tell anybody about it. And I had one teacher I remember. She was from Jamaica, but she was very firm and stern. And so she came to me and she said, Dr. Jett, I read your book. It made me angry. It made me proud. It made me sad. But I just love you. And she gave me and I was like, wow, I was so amazed that it just, had that effect on her. Because, she seemed like one of the people who nothing could affect her. But that book did affect her. So I said, you just never know who your story might help. So instead of me, kind of shying away from it now, if somebody asks me to talk about it, I don't get teary-eyed anymore. I can talk about it. I can remember as much as I can remember and share. Try to help the girls make better decisions. And even though I don't think, I don't know. I don't know if it's something I could have done differently to avoid what happened. I do think that maybe it could have been worse. I was thankful that during that time, my son was not home at that time. That could have happened. So different things. Like I said, bad things happen to everybody. It's not something you can just sweep under the rug, but you have to make a choice on whether you're going to let it ruin the rest of your life. And I decided not to.
Absolutely. And one courageous thing I must commend you on is the fact that you said, it could have been worse, and it wasn't. That's the part that we're going to continue to really dwell on. It wasn't. And that's the positive part about it, because now you do have a testimony. And a lot of times we don't know why God allow us to go through the things that we do go through, but we go through them so that we may be able to help someone else. And that is a phenomenal situation. And the reason why I use the word phenomenal, because it's going to reach masses of women. And I am having the month of March is Women's Month, and I am planning a women retreat. So I'm gonna go ahead
Nice.
on all my public thing right here and invite you. You must be a presenter. So, guys, y'all heard it right here on Exceptional Talk with Dr. Clark. I've given her the invite, so you must be there. Listen, it's coming soon. But I want to thank you so much. I don't want to keep too much more of your time. You have been such an inspiration for a lot of women, and you're going to be even more. So, Dr. Jett, I would like for you to come, just tell me one thing that you would like to leave the audience with. Oh, I lost her. Oh, there she is. Oh,
Yeah.
I think I lost you for a moment there.
I said, Dr. Clark, I think we got frozen.
And so did you. So I wanted to ask if you could leave my viewers or the audience with something, a takeaway. What would be something that you would tell them for them to kind of sum it up and
Okay.
leave it for them to think about? What would it be?
It would be, don't let obstacles stop you from being who God wants you to be. Whatever obstacles you are facing, talk to someone, figure out a plan, and make them happen. Never dim your light because you're afraid to shine. You might think it's something small or it could be something large, but whatever it is that God has put in your heart to do it. Sometimes things happen to slow your road or to deter you, but you have to stay focused. And what God put in your heart, he didn't put in everybody else's heart. So whatever it is, stick to it and do it, get it done. Don't let those obstacles stop you. Because if I can do it, from being a teenage mom to being attacked and burned while I was pregnant with my child, moving to Atlanta with just one family member, all of the struggles and obstacles, and being a divorced mom of 3 kids. If I can do it, I still went to school. I bought 2 houses, and again, life happens, but you have to keep going forward. You can't give up. You can't give up. You got to keep pushing, because at the end, you'll look back on your life and be like, man, I'm proud of who I am and who I've become. And I have accomplished what God wanted me to accomplish. So that's it. Just keep going.
That's it. Awesome. I was going to ask you another one, but I think you kind of put it all into one, because I was going to ask if you could talk to your younger self, what would it be? But I won't even bother to ask that question.
You can ask me.
No, because you actually kind of really you really expounded on it when you talked about from you being a teenage mom all the way up. So that was great right there. So please let our audience know where and how could they get the book. And oh,
I'm still here. Can you see me?
oh, good. I know, because I can't. And let me see what's going on. Why I can't see you. Hold on. Oh, this is interesting. This has never ever happened. There we go. Hey. Oh wow. You know what? The devil is a lie. But I want you to tell me how and where we can get the book Egregious.
You can find it on Amazon. If you go to Amazon and put in Egregious Acts, or you can put in LaKeacha Jett, and you will see all of my products on Amazon.com.
All right. Y'all heard it here.
Yes,
Amazon.com. Egregious Act. You must get this book. All right. All right. Thank you, Miss. Thank you, Dr. Jett.
You're welcome.
And I definitely would like to have you on again, along with some other phenomenal women. I just want to say, keep doing what you're doing. and don't stop.
Thank you, Dr. Clark, for having me.
Great. All right. Exceptional Talk with Dr. Clark. Until the next time. Bye.